Welcome tarot readers, April here, and I'm doing a VR response today to Saturnarian's video, #mytarotquirks. This was really fun to do. I found that I've got some quirky stuff. I mean, I know I'm a quirky person, how about you? But I found that I'm quirky one way when I read for other people, and I'm quirky a completely different way when I read for myself. So I have like these different rules, I guess, for when I read. Very interesting. I'm really interested in hearing about your tarot quirks and your responses to mine, so go ahead and leave some comments down below. In the meantime, I want to quickly remind you that I've got some gifts for you down below. Free tarot printables on some things that you may be interested in, cheat sheets, layouts. You can check those out below for free. They're great for your grimoire. If you haven't started that yet, if you haven't started your grimoire yet, it's a great time to start your grimoire, and I do have a video on that. If you're interested, I'll leave a link down below in the description box, as well as the original video for this My Tarot Quirks from Saturnarian down below in the description box. All right, quirky tarot people, let's jump into it. Number one, and this was so interesting for me to look at, is that when I read for myself personally, I do not cut the cards. Never do. Let me know down below, are you a card cutter? Is this something that you're a stickler on? But when I read with someone in person, I always have them cut the cards, and it's because it tells me a lot about the person on how they cut the cards. So yeah, let me know down below if you cut cards before you read. Quirk number two, shuffling. I never let other people shuffle my cards, like ever. Ever. I feel like I don't want anybody touching my cards at all, other than when they cut the cards and I'm in person with them and I can see what they're doing. Other than that, I've not a single deck that I have has anybody else ever shuffled. I don't even loan my decks out. I have maybe one person in the whole world I would loan a deck to. So that's just me. It's quirky. The other aspect of shuffling is I only shuffle hand over hand. And this is because I was taught by someone who was very specific about this, that you don't do bridge shuffling, that it's very frenetic. Let me just say, there are so many people out there that bridge shuffle that I think are amazing readers. So if that's your thing, please don't be insulted. But I was really taught that it was absolutely a no-no. I don't know, it just stuck in my head, and it just always made sense that for me, the most sacred way and the way that I'm the most focused. And I think it's because I tend to be more of a frenetic person. I'm always going and doing, that tarot is my time to really slow down. And so I only overhand shuffle. All right, number three is when I'm out in public or when I read somewhere else other than in my own home and on my own table, I always read on a cloth. And I have a collection of cloths. Cloths are fun because they can match my mood. So sometimes I read with cloths here at the house as well, but it's pretty rare. Mainly I use them for when I'm out in public, and to me, it's a protective shield. It's a shield that goes on the table so that I'm not picking up any residual energies. A lot of times I will go and do work at coffee shops, and I just don't want the energy of whoever was there before, and so I have my cloths. They're totally mine, they're totally my energy, and I bring them with me wherever I go. Number four, and this one is really quirky, is that I have a personal deck. And that is a deck that I will work with until I feel completely done with my journey with that deck, and I never tell anybody what that deck is, and I don't show it to them, and they don't touch it, and nobody knows anything about it. I know that's just really bizarre, but I feel like I just don't want anybody to put their 2 cents in about the deck or what they like or don't like. And it's my deck, it's my special thing. It's like this sacred, secret little thing that I do with just me that nobody knows about. Last year's deck was the Wildwood Tarot. This deck was so fun to get to know and to use for my personal readings. I absolutely love it. I think I'm gonna trim it. How many of you out there have the Wildwood Tarot and you've trimmed it? This year's deck for my personal deck is, nope, I'm not gonna tell you, because if I told you, then I'd have to kill you. Just kidding. Anyway, that's kind of a quirky thing. I just like to keep my personal deck a secret. Number 5 is smoking my decks. So this was really interesting for me to look at, like how I have all of these strange things that I do when I'm reading for others, but not necessarily for myself. So if I am doing a reading online, I always smoke the deck. So if you're watching my other channel, Ascension in Your Cards, you'll see that I smoke the deck, or I've done it before I get on camera, because I want it completely clear from any other reading, any other thoughts. And that's just what I do every single time. If I'm reading for another person in person, I will smoke before I get there. And then again, I will smoke that deck before I use it for myself. Now, when I'm just pulling a deck for myself, I don't necessarily smoke it. Like, I pick it up, and if it feels like it needs it, I do. But most of the time, no. Like, if these are just decks I've used personally, then I don't bother smoking it. So it's kind of an interesting thing that I'm very specific when reading for other people, that I want to make sure that all my energy is cleared off and the deck is just completely theirs for that moment in time, to really honor their time and their reading and what's coming through for them. Number 6, I almost always have some kind of warm beverage when I'm doing tarot. Tea is a preference because I can pick magical teas and herbal blends and like make my own little magical brew for when I'm reading for myself. But I also like soy, hot cocoa. I don't do dairy. So yeah, I love hot cocoa. Just like chocolate is rich and satisfying. And it's a whole experience. When I read tarot, I want to get into the experience of it. I want it to be as tactile as possible so that I can be present. And so having just like a yummy beverage it's just like a thing for me. Number 7 is jumpers. So if I start off, a lot of times I pick up the deck and I'll start shuffling as I'm thinking about what I'm going to do a reading on, or how I'm going to do the layout. And if I haven't really formulated that and a card jumps, then I just take it. It's nothing. I put it back in the deck. Another quirk, 7B. Always say the question out loud. So if I'm saying the question out loud and it jumps, then that is that card. That's the card that's meant for right there. Again, if I just have the general reading and I know what's in my mind, but I'm not saying that question out loud and I get a jump, then I take that and I put it off to the side and I put it face down, and that is like a message from my spirit guides to me. So I'm really particular about jumpers. I don't do more than 2. So if like 3 cards jumps out, well, that's just like faulty shuffling. That's just me being a little bit reckless there. I know some people don't read jumpers at all. I really like them. I really like ones, especially when I'm reading online. You'll see it and I'm shuffling and I go, okay, next we're gonna do this card, and it just like boom, right away jumps out. To me, that is the ultimate, yes, this is the card for me. Number 8 is reversals. I have 7 different ways that I read reversals, and so I'm very particular about this. I believe that before I begin the reading, before I shuffle the cards, that I need to decide what way I'm going to read reversals. And the purpose of that is that if I don't, then I find that what I do is I start making it up as I go along, and then it's like I could be pushing the reading one way or another, and then at the end, I'm not sure that I got the reading I was supposed to. So I set the parameters for my reading before I draw any cards. Now, if I forget to draw, if I forget to say out loud what form of reversals I'm going to read by, then what method I'm going to read by, then I have the default. I just read with the significance method. And I've been thinking about doing a reversals video, maybe a couple, because I have 7 different ways that I read reversals. And I think it's fun to switch up the way in which you read reversals. But again, it's just super important to me that I choose a way to read reversals before I draw a single card. Because again, otherwise, when you start making it up as you go, then I feel like you're not really being honest. You're being manipulative, or at least I'm being manipulative. I won't put that on you. 9, lastly, are clarifier cards. And this one is really interesting because, again, I have one MO for myself, and one when I'm reading for other people. When I read for myself, it's very, very rare that I will draw a clarifying card. I will walk away if like a card just doesn't jive, if I don't know what it is. I'll write it down in my journal. I'll write my initial thoughts. I'll walk away. I'll come back. I'll even leave it there for a day, maybe even longer if I don't have my table taken up with something else, because I feel like that's the card. And I really want to be committed to what needs to be said and getting what I need to get from it. So it's so darn rare. I have to get a real nudge from the universe. It has to be a really internal nudge for me to read with a clarifier card. However, if I'm reading for someone else or I'm reading online, like on my other channel, I don't do it a lot, but if I'm pulling it out and I'm looking at the spread and I'm just feeling like, wow, this card really stands out. It's just kind of odd in the reading. Why the hell did that come up? Then I will pull a clarifier card just to be sure that the message that I'm getting is in tune, or if I'm just absolutely stumped, because like I'm reading online or reading with a friend, you're right there on the spot, you need answers. Still, I do recommend waiting on a clarifier card, because even when I'm online, sometimes I'll just say, let's come back to that, because sometimes drawing other cards, the rest of the spread will bring it all together at that point. And I like to just give myself a chance to be committed to what's out there first before I put anything else out. Because sometimes people are like, oh, the death card, let's just draw another card. Yeah, and it's just telling them the same thing, like, let's draw another card. And that's you not liking the card and just wanting a different answer. So I'm really committed to this for myself on trying to be as honest as possible and as genuine with my interaction with the cards, because I do feel like this is a body of knowledge. This is a consciousness that I'm tapping into, and I really want to honor that and honor that relationship, and even honoring decks, because I have so many different decks and they have different messages and different ways of communicating. And so being committed to the style of communication, even honoring the creator of the deck, because each deck and each creator teaches us something new and from a different angle. And I think it's important to respect that as well. And so there's just something about clarifier cards that I'm really careful about. I just don't do them very often. And I really have to have that internal, yeah, you need another card here. And most of the time, instead of doing that, I will ask another question. I'll sit and meditate on what question do I really need to ask, and then I'll just draw another card for that question instead of a clarifier card. Anyway, these are my tarot quirks. I'm interested to see if any of you have these tarot quirks as well. Let me know down below what your tarot quirks are, or if you're another video creator, make a video with hashtag mytarotquirks. Thanks for joining me. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget about those free PDF printables down below in the description box. If you like this video, you may like this video over here, or maybe this video down here. If not, you can check out my other channel where I read tarot. Until we meet again, happy reading.